We're going to say our prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Our learning should be in the merit of the safe and swift return of everyone who was taken as hostage. It should be in the merit of a refuah shlema for everyone who has been injured. It should be for a swift and successful and final destruction of Hamas and everything that they represent. And it should be also in the merit of unity of everybody in Am Yisrael, because it's the unity of Am Yisrael that is actually going to allow us to prevail. Because the way the Jewish people works is different than any other nation. Mi ke'amcha Yisrael, who is like the nation of Israel, goy echad ba'aretz. They are a unique people. They are unique people in the world. And what is so unique about us? So in this week, we did Bereshit on already. So you're doing Bereshit. Oh, no, see, we're doing Bereshit. We're doing Bereshit this Shabbos. We're starting at the very beginning. We're starting at the very beginning of Bereshit. And in Bereshit, in creation, we know there's the creation of Adam, the first man, the first human being. We are taught, it says, only the Jewish people are called Adam. Now, everybody gets all bent out of shape. The Jewish people think that only they are human beings and everybody else is not. It says that's not what it said. Only the Jewish people are called Adam, meaning one person. All the rest of humanity are called the descendants of Adam, just like you're the descendants of anybody else. The Jewish people is Adam. We are one being. We are one being, and the health and the welfare of this one being is completely determined by the health and well-being of the relationships between all of the people who make up as if we were individual cells of the same one person. Now, we're not talking about a poetic of all humanity is one. That's great, that's fine. We're talking about an entity that functions as one being, so that if you are one being, like I am one person, and if you saw me with my right hand slapping my left hand, and my left hand slapping my right hand, and one side gouging out the eyes of the other, you would have me committed to a psychiatric ward. There's something wrong with you. You can't live like that. It says, when there is dissension and hatred amongst the Jewish people and divisiveness, it's not just like, oh, it's not so nice, it makes things difficult. It makes it impossible, and we ruin the health of Am Yisrael, who is called Adam, the person. We lose it. We lose that which gives us special power. We lose what gives us special success. It's as if we lose our immune system, we lose everything. The machlokas, the fighting that had been going on amongst the Jewish people before the holidays and during the holidays, we were close to a civil war here, I'm sorry to say. And I'm not going to even talk about the things that were going on, but even our enemies said they decided it would be a perfect time to attack the Jewish people. This has been done before. I just recall and point out to you Purim. When Haman goes to Achashverosh, he says, there is a certain people, Yeshno Am Echad, that is mifuzar, that is scattered and asleep. Now's the time to destroy them. If there's anyone who represents what Haman was at that time, it is Hamas. And just for the record, Hamas means destruction. That's what Hamas means in Hebrew. So they are the destructive force. Pure, simple, that's it. It says that when we are like that, we lose what makes us able to function as a nation. So I'm just going to make a comment about now I don't know what happened. I'm not on the inner core of anything, but metaphysically what happens, we know that says that when somebody is angry and in temper, they lose their greatest strength. So that if you are angry and your greatest strength is that you are really smart, you'll lose it. The Jewish people had so much anger and animosity toward each other. I'm not saying what happened with the IDF. I don't really know. But I'm saying at the metaphysical level, we lost our cutting edge. We lost what has always been able to distinguish us and make us distinct. Everyone's saying, like, what happened to the intelligence? What happened to that? What happened? So it'll be for the army people and the government to discuss what happened. But when it comes to the Jewish people, there is always, always an underlying spiritual reason that allows and enables something to happen. How did it happen? I don't know how it happened, but we know what we need to do to fix it. And what we need to do to fix it is thank God. Just is what's going on now. People embracing in the street. And, there were lines and lines of people standing outside for 3 hours in the sun in Jerusalem, even though there were rockets, sirens, to give blood. And as somebody noticed and said, they were Israeli and they were standing in line. Israelis don't stand in line. They don't stand in line. Everyone was standing in line, quiet, standing in line. In the grocery stores, people were just like being very nice. I was kind of blocking an area near the potatoes, and this person said to me, "Excuse me, may I pass?" I can't say I hear that too often. "Excuse me, may I pass?" I'm like, "Of course." And this woman was looking in the bag of potatoes. "Did you want some more? I only need 3. I'm like, "No, I only need 5. That's fine. We'll share it." Like all of this has been unbelievable. And that's just like the tone of what's going on. The kids who are out collecting things for the soldiers. So there, I mentioned, I don't even know what I've sent to who, so you'll forgive me if I'm repeating and whatever. They're setting up tables outside of the grocery stores. This is staffed by teenager volunteers collecting things for the soldiers. People are just coming and bringing things, secular, religious, Haredi, everything, everybody, here, and everyone's saying, Besorot Tovot, we should have good news. Hashem Yishmor, God will protect us. And you're seeing this from everybody is saying this. And people are coming out. So the offerings or the contributions in Hebrew is called truma. So truma is one of these things that has to do that you would bring to the temple, the offerings, the truma offerings. But there's a parsha in the Torah called truma, and it's about when God gives the command that the Jewish people should bring the offerings for the building of the Mishkan in the desert. And what happens? The people bring so much that Moshe has to tell them to stop. We're like that. So the people are bringing like loads and loads of stuff. It's like, okay, we don't have any more room to take any of this. The planes are full. As I said, people are chartering planes so they can get all the things to Israel. The outpouring is just, people cannot stop giving. It is so heartwarming. And then to see at our son's yeshiva, the Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the yeshiva, is a Kohen. So in Israel, the Kohanim do the Birkat HaKohanim, the blessing of the Kohanim, every day in services. In outside of the land of Israel, it's only done on the festivals. But in Israel, it's done every day, and you can do it at other times if you want. So the head of the yeshiva, for all of the boys who were called up and volunteered and went, he's a Kohen, and he blessed every single one of them with the blessing of the Kohanim to send them off to the front. And just the power of that, and the people are dancing and the people are honking on the streets and we love you. And when we saw that restaurants in Tel Aviv, non-kosher restaurants, were having their kitchens koshered so they could prepare food for the soldiers, because thank God the IDF holds by having kosher food for their soldiers. So they were having them koshered so that they could have kosher food to prepare for the soldiers. This is Tel Aviv, which, as I said, you know what's been going on. This is unbelievable. And there has been this big desire that the guys going in, they want tzitzit. So tzitzit, this is not the tallis like you wear when you're davening. This tzitzit is for that men wear under their shirts every single day, all day long. So it's usually like an undershirt looking thing with tzitzit. And people who are not religious are like, we want tzitzit. So there's been this mass effort to do two things: getting tzitzit to the soldiers and getting them combat tzitzit that are green so that they can be camouflaged, because the last thing you want is your bright white tzitzis, giving your place away. So they've been doing that, so much so that there was a story of a man. He was a religious man saying goodbye to a soldier, and he said, I wish I could give you some, I don't have any food with me. And he said, I don't want any food. He said, well, what do you want? He said, I want tzitzis. And the guy was like, well, the only tzitzis I have are the ones I'm wearing, like under my shirt. Looks like your undershirt. And he said, but I'll give it to you. And so he took it off and he gave it to the boy. And he said, and when you come back alive and well, we'll go get you some more tzitzis and we'll take a picture of the two of us together, you and me in our tzitzis. And now I just saw they want kippahs. So I'm like, who are these people? I'm like, Am Yisrael. This is the Jewish people. People are coming. There was all this talk about hundreds of thousands of people are going to leave Israel, blah, 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 blah. And now there's 200,000, 300,000 Israelis who are returning home who don't even need to, because they want to be here and to be in the land of Israel, like homing pigeons coming home. It's like, I must be with, it's like a switch went on. People woke up, switch went on. It's like, I must be here. It's like the word Am Yisrael, the word Am is spelled Ayin Mem, Ayin Mem. So Steve is in Ulpan, and so we were going over words, and it was like, I thought Ayin Mem spells Im, which means with, like I'm going with you. I'm going Im, whatever, Im Carol. I'm going with you. It's like, yes. And Rabbi Soloveitchik has written and said precisely that the definition of Am Yisrael is that we are with each other. And the script version of it is the ayin that looks like the tie a yellow ribbon, only upside down. It looks like that. Like that. It looks like that. I'm with you. I am with you. Says this is Am Yisrael, means that I am Im Yisrael. I am Im Am Yisrael. I am with you, the people, the nation of Israel. When we realize this, and we realize our dependence only on God, we have what's called our hishtadlut. We have what we are obligated to do. We're obligated to fight. It is a Torah command. People think that Jews are pacifists. We are not pacifists. We are peaceful. And there is a huge difference. A pacifist is somebody who thinks that fighting is never the answer and it's always going to be bad. Peaceful means that you are seeking peace. And sometimes in order to have peace, you have to fight. Just think World War II. I don't think anybody was thinking ever that not fighting Nazi Germany would be a really smart thing to refrain from doing. And that would have been a pacifist approach, but not a peaceful approach. Peace sometimes has to be restored with fighting. And there's a Jewish law that if somebody is coming to murder you, you murder them first. And then it's not even called murder, it's called killing. Murder is when there is no reason for someone to kill you and you are an innocent person. So that this is like the Jewish people are obligated, and we have a command to wipe out evil, and we have to have also a command to call it for what it is. to call it for what it is and to wipe it out. So the Jewish people have been mobilizing, and it has been so heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So, we've only been on this yishuv, in this settlement, for 3 months. Now it seems like we've been here for like a year. It's really quite amazing. And Steve and I were saying today that we really are starting to get to know people and feel settled in, but we never really expected that we would be bonding over such a scenario as what we have right now. So being able to go over to a woman's house whose husband has been called up, who has 3 little kids, 4, 2, and 1, to go just help fold laundry. Someone asked me, they said, how come there was so much laundry after Sukkot? Like, why don't you do laundry? So we don't do laundry. There's certain things during the intermediate days of Sukkot and of Pesach that it's a quasi-holiday time. It's not just the first 2 days. It's the whole thing. So there are fewer restrictions, but there are still some, and one of them is on laundry. So people had tons of laundry waiting for them on Saturday night, and that's when many of the husbands left during shul on Saturday. Just during the davening is when they were called away, before anybody really knew what was going on. So just being able to go and help somebody. Some of the women were a little shy, like to say that they needed help. And I'm like, I'm a grandmother. This is what I do for my kids and my grandchildren is I go over, I wash dishes, and I fold laundry. Those are my 2 best skills ever. And I'm happy to do that for you. You are doing me a favor to let me do this for you. So just doing that, the ironing, and just helping out. So yesterday we made dinner, or maybe, no, I'm sorry, it was lunch. We made lunch for soldiers who are stationed here. And then this morning got up and made scrambled eggs for the soldiers also. Steve was walking that over, and it was early this morning. So he came by a soldier who basically in Hebrew said, like, who goes there? Because he was walking along a path to near the area where they were. And he was like, Aruchat Boker. That means breakfast. And it was like, toda, toda, thank you, thank you. But the scenario is so, I'm going to say, very informal and casual. Do you think you could ever get close to an American Army base and just like walk in with a plate of food and someone's like, oh, thank you? Like, it could have been anybody, anything, but this is like Andy of Mayberry here. It's like a little village. It's like, oh, thank you. Oh, right in there. So it's pretty wild. So that was this morning. And then there's like 15 different chat groups, some in Hebrew, some in English. I'm using Google Translate, which is not always so accurate. Some of the things are pretty funny, how they translate things. But the kids are running a bake sale. So they were running a bake sale to raise money for the chayalim, for the soldiers. So we drove over to the bake sale to buy brownies and cinnamon rolls. And just for the record, Israelis, for some reason, don't find cinnamon rolls so exciting. And only the Americans, only the Anglos were buying them. Brownies and chocolate chip cookies seem to be universal, but cinnamon rolls are like, mazeh, like, what's this? Like, nobody eats that. So it wasn't a rugalach. They didn't know what to do with it. So like, oh, we'll take it. So they had a bake sale. It was so cute. They were selling them for like 1, 2, and 3 shekel. And so we gave him an extra shekel. And the little boy was so honest. He goes, you gave me too much. No, we want you to have extra. So he was going to give us change from our 5 shekels. So sweet. And then we're in our apartment and we get a knock on the door, and there's another group of neighborhood boys like collecting food for the soldiers. So we don't have so much because we're trying not to panic buy. So we had some candy that somebody else had brought to us. So we're like, we don't have so much other food now, but we have this candy. Like, okay, great, they'll like that. So they took it. And then we went to pay a shiva call. So there are already 2 people in the community who have lost relatives. This was a rabbi, Achia and Idit, what's her last name? Eliyahu, and their son, Ariel, was murdered. And so we went to pay a shiva call. So they're Israeli, but they also speak English because they were in the United States for a period of time. So they speak English fluently. There were a lot of people there. It's often a Shiva house in Israel is outside because people don't have such big spaces inside. So it was outside, kind of under like what would have been like their sukkah. So there were, I don't know, like about 60 people there. So I didn't know them. But I thought, well, I want them to know that like I'm new here and that I came to say how sorry I was. So when there was like a little break, I went up to them and I said, we're new here and we've only been here for 3 months, but we wanted to come and be Menachem Avel to console you. And so we came. So they said, what's your name? So I said, Ellen and Steve Hutt. So the father says, Denver? I'm like, yes. How did you know that? How did you know that? He said, I interviewed you when you applied to come into the yeshuv. I said, thanks for letting us in. So he was so sweet. And here they are the ones who are grieving, like, we really want to get to know you, at the right time and welcome. And you b'hatzlacha, you should be successful and have an easy settlement. And thank you so much. It's so special. So they made me feel like here I went to do something for them, but they made me feel like I was like this very important person who came to see them. So we did that. And like that was just for today. So it's been such a whirlwind of emotions. When I'm doing something, I feel fine, and I have to try not to let myself think about really what has happened because I wouldn't really be able to function, honestly. So we're just moving forward, and there's a chat that has only inspirational videos on it. And one of the warnings is do not watch all the videos. We are so absorbed by watching. Do not watch all of the ones that are horrific. I know it feels like I'm being cowardly. If these people went through this, the least I can do is watch it. It's part of a terror campaign. It's to make us tremble and to be scared and to be weak. So don't watch it. Again, as I think I said in one of my emails, unless you need to see it to have your thinking on straight, don't watch it because it's too horrific. And watch the things that are inspiring. The money that is being collected, Zelle, Venmo, people are gathering. We're raising money now, honestly, for extra protective gear for the security here on our yeshuv, since we overlook Jericho and several other Arab villages that are around. Jericho's a big city. So we're raising money for that and just coping. So it's really incredible. So what is it that we are supposed to learn? It says that in the creation, it says we said already that the creation of Adam, that the Jewish people are Adam. We are one being. And the energy, the joy, the enthusiasm, the support, the love, the giving that is given to anyone is given to us all. And everybody is feeling it. I can't tell you, except for the other people, Carol, who is here, of being able, and I'm sure the others of you who have relatives who are here also know that it is just palpable how people are relating to each other. And I just am davening and praying that the unity that we have uncovered with the Israeli flag now being restored to its proper use as the flag of Am Yisrael, of Medinat Yisrael, of all of Am Yisrael, of the Jewish people, that is it. And as Gabi said, like aspen trees, exactly. The Jewish people are like a huge grove of aspen trees, which I guess are probably, I don't know if they've done turning colors in Colorado yet, probably they have, but their root system is all linked. If you hurt one part of it, you hurt the whole thing. If you nourish one part of it, you nourish the whole thing. It's all one organism. I think the people coming back and flocking here. There was a video of people going to the Ben Gurion airport to greet people who had come back at 2:00 in the morning. 2:00 in the morning to greet and sing and drums and dancing, like, heroes welcome for people coming back to be part. There's even the person who's the oldest reserve person in the reserves, a 95-year-old man who has a uniform and his gun. Somebody quipped and said they think his caretaker had to sign for his equipment. I'm not sure he was like really able to even do that, but he was there to give inspiration to the younger people because he's seen it all. He has seen it all. And so to be able to see this final coming together of the Jewish people, honestly, at Yom Kippur, I didn't know what was going to happen to us. That's how bad it was of the fraying of our peoplehood. And this was like, this is a very, very, very steep price to pay for a very painful wake-up call. But I think almost everybody is awake now. I think so. And hopefully we have resolve to do what needs to be done. But we do have two fronts, Am Yisrael Chai and Hashem Yishmor. We are Hashem's people. We have been chosen by him to be a light unto the nations. So the last two things I want to talk about are, what is this light unto the nations? And what is something special that we learn from the parsha of Bereshit? So let's talk about the light. So parsha Bereshit, we have the description of the very first thing that was created after, you can open it up. I think it's on page 1. You can find it quite easily, whether you're in a Tanakh or a Chumash. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created a beginning, and he created shamayim ve'aretz. And this is not heaven and earth like the earth, the planet Earth and the stars. This is heaven and earth, meaning the physical, all the physical raw materials. That's what it is. And this aretz, haita tohu vavohu, and it was astonishingly empty. Now, I have to tell you that these first beginnings of Bereshit are considered some of the most mystical, deep, and complex parts of the Torah that we don't even begin to understand. Most of us grew up, or many of us grew up in Sunday school, where you started the Jewish year with a bulletin board. It was very easy for the teachers, at least for many teachers. You make 7 panels, and what was created on the first day, light and darkness, and you do that, and then you come to the last day, Shabbos, etc. And it looks so simple, simple, simple. Sunday school simple. It's like, this is the deepest secret of all. What does that even mean when Aretz was astonishingly empty? You just said you created something. What does empty mean? With darkness upon the surface of the deep, and it was like there was a void in it, but it was created. But what was it? So this is a beautiful understanding elucidated on by Rav Kook, who talks about that it was the raw material, but it had no form. Like all raw materials, like if you have dough or you have flour, you just have something, but it doesn't have any form to it yet, and it has no use and no purpose. That's called tohu vavohu, when something has no form and it has no purpose and it's all raw material. And what changes that is God didn't say, well, let's order this, let's put this into order. Let's do something to get this all organized. It doesn't say that. It says, God said, let there be light. Let there be light. And this is not the sun. That's day 4. Sun, the moon, stars, day 4. This is spiritual light. It says, what is this light? It says, this light is what is described in the Psalms as it says that God wrapped himself in light and created what we know as reality. What does that mean? It says, it takes the raw materials, and when you wrap something in light, it means you give it purpose, you give it form, you give it form and purpose, and the form and the purpose match each other and function. And that is called creation. So that first light is the light that gives the raw material function, form, and purpose. Otherwise, you just have raw material. So this is a new understanding for the Jewish people to have, because what are we called? We're called an or lagoyim. We are a light unto the nations. What is that light? It says our light is the spiritual light that defines how the physical world is supposed to be used to its maximum to create happiness, joy, and connection with our Creator. And without that light, it ends up being chaos and void. Do you ever remember, any of you watch Get Smart when you were growing up? I love that show. Get Smart. Who was the enemy? Chaos, right? Chaos. Now, that was kind of cute for a TV show, but guess what? That is the enemy, is chaos. And chaos is symbolized by cruelty, by wild disregard for function, form, or anything else, just a complete distortion of everything. That is chaos. That's Hamas. The Jewish people are the light unto the nations. We are the light that is supposed to be wrapped around the world to show how it's supposed to function. And that this was embedded in creation. So when he says that the Jewish people, we fulfill this role for humanity. It doesn't mean that no one else can do it, or they won't eventually all do it, but we're supposed to be the ones leading the way. What does that look like? We're supposed to show, what does it look like with, we have Am Yisrael and Am Echad, a united nation, that, not the United Nations, a united nation that is serving Hashem and that is properly dealing with the world and relating to it. There is also, I'm sorry, on that same topic, that this is the light. So we'd like to think, we can talk about the light of the nations, of the Jewish people, that it also refers to, the technology, which is great. And technology is one of those things that can be emptiness, chaos, and void, or it can be harnessed for the most amazing, productive things ever. And it is all how it is used. So if it's not light that's going to go around it, the more light that can go around it, the more its opposite could attract its opposite. So you can have technology that can be used for the greatest good or the greatest evil. And that's just the way it is. So we are supposed to make sure that everything is used for the greatest good. And where are we supposed to demonstrate this? Specifically, we are the Jewish people, and it doesn't matter where we live because we are inextricably linked together. We stood at Sinai, Ke'ish Echad B'Lev Echad. We stood as one person with one heart. And it doesn't matter. Have you seen the videos that showing people singing Achenu, Kol Beit Yisrael, we are brothers, all of Israel, in London, in Paris, in, South Africa, all of these places, the same song, all these Jewish people, it doesn't matter. We are all one. That being said, there is one place on the planet that has been designated as the ideal place to manifest this relationship, and that is the land of Israel. So the very, very, very first Rashi comment in Genesis opens up with, and I don't know if it's in the Chumash or not. Hold on a second. I think maybe the first. Yes, if you have the Art Scroll Chumash, it's in there. And it says, Rashi, this is in the commentary below. Rashi cites Rav Yitzchak, who says that since the Torah is primarily a book of laws, it should have begun with the commandment of Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh was establishing the new moon, was the first mitzvah given to the Jewish people as a people when we were in Egypt. If the Torah is a book of law, it should have started there. Why does the Torah start with Bereshit? Why does it start with the creation of everything? And the answer that is given, he explains that the reason for the Torah's narrative of creation, that God is the sovereign of the universe. He declared to his people the power of his works in order to give them the heritage of the nations. Psalm 111, verse 6. If the nations accuse Israel of banditry for seizing the lands of the 7 nations of Canaan, Israel can respond. The entire universe belongs to God. He created it and he granted it to whomever he deemed fit. It was his desire to give it to them, the Jewish people, and then it was his desire, to the Canaanites, and then it was his desire to take it from them and give it to us. This is who is supposed to know this? I don't know too many Canaanites or other nations that are learning Torah, let alone Rashi. It says, who is this message for? This is for the Jewish people. Because the Jewish people, God bless our hearts, are the most compassionate, justice-seeking, concerned with everybody, people on the planet. And we are the first ones to believe that we're in the wrong. And Rashi, this wasn't yesterday. This wasn't like before the 6-Day War. It's just like in the 1100s, I think is that when Rashi was. I'm not sure even when he was. It's like Jewish people will be accused that we stole the land. Now, I have to say, is even if you wanted to talk about stealing land, which is a pretty bizarre accusation, since we've been on this land, as was pointed out by Charles Krautheimer, the Jewish people are the only people on the planet and in all of history who have occupied the same land, spoken the same language, worshiped the same God with the same Torah for 3,000 years. I'm not sure how you get any more entitled or authentic than that. Everyone else who has been here, they have been the occupiers. We are the owners. Now, the ownership is conditional, and is conditional on the behavior of the Jewish people. Ideally, is conditional on the performance of mitzvot. Because one of the reasons the Canaanites were deemed unworthy is because they were so evil, like Hamas, that it says that the land vomited them out. If only the land would vomit out Hamas, that would be great. But it will also vomit out the Jews. So this is conditional, this is an inheritance. And inheritance, as anybody who's had difficulty with it's a guaranteed inheritance, but we're not always entitled to claim it. So when we are here, we have to live up to certain expectations. And the minimal expectation, like any good parent, what does any good parent want from their children? Even if they get D's in school and they're juvenile delinquents, but they get along with their brothers and sisters, aren't you willing to give them a pass? You're like, as long as they get together, as long as they get along, I'll let, as long as they get along. That's what makes mommy and daddy happy. It says, Avinu Shabashamayim, our Father in heaven, is looking at us to say, my children, where are you? If you love each other, I'm here for you. And if you aren't, I cannot. So what we're seeing here is the quickest turn on a dime that I cannot even believe it. I cannot even believe it. It is unbelievable. All the horrid posters that have been up for ever, all gone. All gone. Am Yisrael Chai. That's what's plastered around the land of Israel. It was to the point where soldiers in uniform were going into restaurants and being refused to be served because people had their issues. The people were saying, you can't come here, you can't come there. It was so horrible. And now it's like nobody can do enough for each other. Baruch Hashem. Thank God. But what a tremendous, I feel like somebody two people are fighting and nobody can break it up, and somebody like drops something heavy to like get everybody to stop. We got a very, very heavy stop and wake up. So we are seeing unprecedented times in so many different ways, focusing on what we can do, and every bit helps. People are davening for soldiers, davening for the people, the captives, doing a mitzvah. Anything that we do contributes. It's like we are like a vitamin pill for the body, the collective body of Am Yisrael. And I'll tell you, The health and well-being of the Jewish people in the land of Israel is not just for our personal, provincial, limited benefit. It is for the benefit of the entire world. It is for the benefit of the entire civilized world, because we are the Or L'Goyim. As we speak, there are children from Gaza who are being treated in Israeli hospitals for cancer, for this, for that. There are Hamas terrorists that are being treated in Israeli hospitals next to the people who have been injured badly by Hamas terrorists. It's like, who does this? Who does this? I can't quite stomach it, honestly. I really can't. But who does this? So this is we are seeing something, and I am grateful. On one hand, I am grateful for the technology that allows us to see instantaneously the magnitude of the greatness, as well as horrified, but it allows us to see the magnitude of the terror, because one goes with the other. Our goal is to put as much energy as possible onto the side of light and good, and to not equivocate at all about which side is which. There are news stations which are reporting the combined dead of Israelis and Hamas, as if it's to give a balanced perspective. It makes me want to just throw up. There's nothing to balance here. I don't think anybody would have thought of that during World War II, of Nazis and Jews. Well, the combined death total of them together, it's like, who would do that? Our moral compass has been so distorted that it took something catastrophic to reset it. That's all I can think of. I don't formed a unity government. You would have thought those people were like they just formed a unity government. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but even that action alone is heartwarming. We'll see. Hopefully everybody stays together and moves forward. The commitment and resolve is really incredible, and everyone appreciates what everybody is doing at every level. So this is my update for tonight, and it's very strange going to sleep at night and hearing rumbling, but I'm very grateful that we don't have sirens. Our kids had sirens. People spent Shemini Atzeret in bomb shelters, coming in and out. We have 90 seconds to get to cover. That's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time. So, but then we got the command to prepare our safe rooms, and I just, like, my heart, I thought I was going to pass out. 3 days worth of water. And someone said, what about going to the bathroom? They go, get a bucket, get a bucket. Like, get a bucket. We're we are, we're not from the bucket people. Like, we are in a different time here. It's like, someone said, like, Ad Khan, like, there's a limit to what I could do, and I'm not sure I can do that. So I'm just not going to go for 3 days. That's what I'm not going to do. So God forbid we shouldn't have to have that challenge. But so there is some funny thing. I hope you all saw, because it was like a blip of something funny and amazing. Did you hear about the grandmother who fended off the Hamas terrorists? 5, so I'll just say it because it's just, it is a little light among such horrors beyond comprehension, but you have to kind of hold on to whatever you can. Of this grandmother, 5 Hamas terrorists holding her and her husband hostage with a grenade on her head, and him saying, Allah Akbar, I'm a martyr. And she's like, you don't look so good. I think would you want some tea or coffee? And I think you could use a drink. It's like, okay. And what's your name, by the way? And trying to dissuade him from murder. And then she gave him some cookies, and all 5 of the terrorists are there. And thank God, Israeli commandos came in, accompanied by her son, and killed all of them in the house. Not her and her husband. They were safe. She said she doesn't know how she's alive. She just kept saying Shema Yisrael. So then there was a meme going around with the Hamas person saying, I accept cookies. So it was just, it was pretty funny. But it just reminded of like Yael, of who fed the, whatever his name was, and killed him, cut off his head after she plied him with food and wine and her body, and then she killed him. So it was just kind of Baruch Hashem, something little funny of like, well, at least there was something to be able to hang on to. So Hashem, truly, Yishmor, Hashem should save us. A couple of things that would be really helpful. The decree of death that Haman had for us was never overturned. Because if you remember, Achashverosh would not overturn it. All he allowed to happen was Mordechai and Esther to have a parallel decree that they could defend themselves. But the decree against us was never lifted. And Esther's decree was based on kanes, bring all the Jewish people together, and then I will go to the king. And the king, meaning Hashem, is like, we go as one or we do not go at all. We come together, and we come with the 3 things that we said repeatedly over the high holidays. Utshuva, utfila, and tzedakah, of teshuva, of transformational change of ourselves, tefillah, of prayer, and tzedakah, that ma'avirat haroah hagzera, that is what changes the evil of the decree. Those are our weapons. The weapons of the Jewish people are unity, acts of kindness, tzedakah, and tefillah. If people are interested, the Psalms to say, and if you read them in English, you'll see that they are almost too eerily relevant. Psalm 20, Psalm 83, Psalm 121, Psalm 130, and Psalm 142. To say those Psalms repeatedly throughout the day. I'm sure your synagogues have lists of people who have been injured or whatever, soldiers. You can find any of that out. It can be just general for the Jewish people, for all of us. But those are the Psalms to say, and to take on a small mitzvah. And the small mitzvah can be greeting someone with a smile, because you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference when you're just walking around, that everybody's just like in a different place. A little bit like in America after 9/11, where everybody said, oh, everything has changed now. Remember how everybody was being really nice to each other for a little while? So that's how people are going around, and God willing, this sticks, because for us, the Jewish people, it is essential. Yes, I will repeat the Psalms. Psalm 20, 83. I feel like a football, quarterback. 20, 83, 121, 130, 142. Now, that being said, any and all Psalms are welcome. And you'll see that King David went through on the microcosm what we're going through now as a people. And this was why we always turn to Psalms. The power of the Jewish people is in our mouths. So whether we're speaking words of prayer or we're speaking words of kindness and shalom to one another, that's our weapon. It's called the hands of Esav and the voice of Jacob. Kol Yaakov. You might even have a prayer book that's called Kol Yaakov, the voice of Jacob. That's the voice of the Jewish people. These are our weapons. These are our defense. That is our defense system. And we do have our hishtadlut. We do have our efforts that we make. Now, you also, if you want to make any donations, if you can make them to places that are in Israel, with all due respect to the organizations that are collecting on behalf of Israel, the needs are too immediate. We need it now. So if you can do it to places in Israel, that would be the best. And if you can go through Stand With Us, and they are a clearinghouse for Israeli organizations Specifically, I can tell you one of the things that is desperately needed are bulletproof vests. They entered Gaza tonight. I think they're entering Gaza tonight on foot, which is just chilling. They don't have enough bulletproof vests. This is the largest call up of a standing army in Israel's history. They don't have enough supplies. So if you would like to give, and I know people have been so generous, and whatever you give to is great, but if you want something really immediate that can save lives immediately, that would be really very helpful. And thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who wrote me or texted me, I'm sorry I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to get back to you. What can I say? I just didn't. So I'm really glad to be able to see you, and I'll send out other updates to Etta. Yes.
Who specifically is buying the vests for them? Who does the money go to exactly, if we want to give?
Right. Do you have a link to send us?
I can give, if you go to Stand With Us, Stand With Us, and then there is, you know what, I will send it. Are you all got my mailing in some way, shape, or form, right? You got my, I will send it out to you, so that you can see it. Yes. And then, yes, Janice, thank you. There's a group where you can get a name to daven for. Steve got a soldier to daven for, and he's been in touch with their family and got a picture of the family, and, was in touch with them. So this is all very personal. This is, we have to realize, first of all, I think, God forbid, numbers are just so distorted. So I don't know what, 1,200 people killed and murdered in a few days. People said, like, oh, this is Israel's 9/11. This is way more than Israel's 9/11. This would be like if Colorado has, I think, I don't know how many, like 5.5 million people. Israel has like 7.2 million Jews. It would be like if 1,300 people were murdered in Colorado by people who live in Colorado. You would be, those numbers, we can't even comprehend what that means. We can't even comprehend what that means. So that this transformation of what has happened is just cataclysmic, and God willing, it's, things that are this devastating, like in an individual, a catastrophe can either break people or it can launch them to new levels of greatness that they never thought possible. God willing, we are the ones who are going to go to new levels that we never thought possible of what we were able to achieve. So I will send the link out to you for places that you can give specifically there for the vests, and there's all sorts of other needs too. All of them are desperately, desperately needed and appreciated and welcome. So I think I said in my email to you, everyone plays Jewish geography here. Everybody knows everybody. And this is when it has become very painful, is we already have friends whose relatives were taken hostage, other relatives who were murdered on Shabbos, and others who are serving. This is just one family. So this is very personal. In the United States, not that we welcome anybody or, are indifferent to anybody's death or dying, but honestly, whenever they announce the death of people who had passed away, I have to say, I never knew one person. I never knew one person of any of those people. This is like, oh my gosh, he's my son's, he was the best man at my son's wedding. He was my chavrusa, in high school. That was my camp counselor. That's my, my lactation specialist. This is so up close and personal that everyone is feeling it viscerally. And I think all the Jewish people are feeling it viscerally. So thank you, thank you, thank you. How can you get on my email list? Send me your email, Doris. how did you get the link for this? Did you get it from the Jewish if you got it from the Jewish Experience, my email address is Ellen A. Hutt, ELLYNAHUTT, Ellen A. Hutt at gmail.com, and just say that you want to be added to the email list, and I'll add you, and I'll send you out the links if you have them. Thank you. Stay strong, stay positive, speak the truth to everybody who needs to hear it. And we feel your love and support, care and concern. It all makes a huge, huge difference. So thank you.
Well,
Thank
we
you
love
for-
you
So much.
We love
for
you.
inspiring.
We're wrapping our arms around you and giving you so much strength.
Thank you. I feel it. Thank you. Thank you.
So they're going into Gaza tonight? You mean your night or our night?
Don't. I don't know. They are planning a ground offensive.
Right, but we don't know exactly when.
No, that's.
They didn't tell Ellen how. For
Thank
some
you.
reason, they forgot to fill me in.
Thank
I don't know
you.
why. I have a lot of ideas should be handled, but they forgot to ask me. Actually, I have to say, thank God I am not in charge of deciding what to do, because there are no good decisions.
Very hard decisions.
There are only painful decisions. Yeah. There's just painful ones that'll be more effective and painful ones that'll be less effective. And who's to even know what it's supposed to look like? I don't know. Hashem should just make his presence known and obvious and clear to all of us. But as I said, the Jewish people, the light has gone on in so many people's eyes. We are awake, and thank God. And it's funny to be walking around and being happy seeing people carrying guns. I have to say, I wouldn't really want to be a guy wearing a gun in my pants. You know, it's just like, I just like make me a little nervous. But they're armed and ready to go, and thank God for it. They're ready. And someone said, if I was going to get a gun, I said, absolutely not. My hand was shaking. I couldn't even get this to record. I'm like, I don't think a gun in my hand would be a really helpful thing. So
what we did the nest, right? We need the nest.
What was that, Gabi?
It's a miracle. We need a nest from Hashem.
Yes,
Yeshua.
absolutely. We need a Yeshua, Hashem M'Yerushalyim.
Everything.
And it's only when we totally turn Ein Od Milvado, there is no other ultimate power. We all have a responsibility. The Jewish people, even in the Torah, fought wars. We fought, and we're commanded to fight to defend ourselves. And we cannot be equivocal about it. We just can't afford it anymore. So that, and at the same time, is like, and Hashem runs the world. We started Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. In the beginning, Hashem creates reality, and we are partners in that creation. But God is the one who is running the show. So we don't understand it. It is beyond and way above and beyond our pay grade. We've only been here for a very, very short piece of the picture. We don't even understand what chapter we're in. We don't even know where we are exactly in the story, except that we know that we're in an important part of the story. And that's for sure. All right, everybody, stay strong.
Thank you for inspiring us.
Ellen.
Be
And
kind
we
to
love you so much. Thank you and all your family. May they stay safe. Amen. All of Israel. Thank you for giving us tools.
Thank you so much.
So much. Lots of.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you, everybody.
Sending love and hugs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Love
Bye-bye.
you, love you.
Ellen.
Thank you.
Hugs to everyone. Bye.
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 Oh.
Bye.
Lev says bye.
Bye, Lev.
You want to wait? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Just wave to you. Yeah, he was so good. He read two books in the meantime. He let me be with you. It was so important to me. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I really wasn't sure. I saw Andy and she wasn't sure if you'll teach this weekend. I'm impressed and thank you. remembering.
Yeah, you got my email that I was teaching, right? I sent it
Oh,
out
yeah.
last. Okay, good.
Yeah. No, but I saw her, before that, and she was hoping, but she wasn't sure. So
Yeah, I
admire you, and all the wars I've been in have been very different. Nothing like abducting baby kids and civilians. It was army against army, except the Saddam Hussein that sent missiles, but again didn't go into our houses.
Yes, that is a
Big difference.
big.
Amalek is the word, and King David should have killed Amalek. Well, but
King Saul, yes, King Saul should have killed him.
sorry, David. Sorry, King David. Shaul.
Shaul. I know, I feel like telling Bibi the choice to be Shaul or Mordecai. Take your choice.
That's a good one. Wow. You can write him a letter. And what about your yeshuva? You say that they don't have enough people now guarding you because they had to.
No, they do have people because we have an army unit here.
But not enough vests.
The vests are for the soldiers that are up north and south.
How fast can we, how can we make it fast? Because nobody should go in there without a vest.
Right.
That'll be too
Right.
So,
I'll send you the link. You can
is it a ches one? Because I already did vests yesterday to a unit of a son of our member at the HEA that was in combat, and his unit. Same thing.
Oh,
they asked,
everyone's needs it.
Right. So it says ches. It was called chesed something. I forgot. Is it the same link? Because we did that.
I don't know. I don't know. It may be.
So I'll look at yours and see if it's a different one, because that really shouldn't happen, that anyone goes in unprotected. I mean,
Killing.
That's why they saved the one boy out of the whole family because of the vest. Still broke the ribs and went into the lungs, but in a day he was saved because of the vest. That's why I was saved that way. Okay, let's see though. He wants to go in. Take care.
Right.
And Dalia are safe. How near are they? Shalabim from Gaza? Half an hour?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
And they have shelters and everything. So many of my friends don't have, their kids don't have. So that's also
they have to go to a shelter. They don't have it in their house. They have to leave their apartment.
Well, so then you don't have enough time. Yeah, we have friends with kids that have nothing, and that every building should have, somewhere to go. So apartment, I had to go in Netanya down, and we were not ready in Yom Kippur because after 6-day war, we thought we are invincible. So we were in the shul. 2:00 shul reading Jonah, just the youth, right? My parents went home to rest, and Yom Kippur starts, and the rabbi has no clue where the key is for the shelter. I mean, it was so bad, nobody was ready. And he did something that my mom was not too happy about. There was no cell phones. He sent us, and who has a cell phone? Chag anyway. He sent us home. We live 3 kilometers on our own, all kids, with a lot of airplanes on top of us. You never forget. We didn't know if it's enemy or ours or who knows. Was like in the movie, you run from one corner to the next. And then Saddam Hussein was 1990, was the second one. Then every night missiles, and El got diabetes right after, and I'm sure because of the stress of you had to take the babies out, put them in a tent, middle of the night, disrupt their sleep for 6 weeks. And David had a gas mask because it was a mask for gas, because it was all there. And then when we came back here after the Weizmann Institute was done after 2 years, there was something in the preschool that the firefighters came to do a demonstration. He ran away. It was reaction, because it does impact the kids. That's why I don't want the TV on. I have left for 8 days. Daycare closed for COVID, and last week they went on vacation finally for their
Oh, the COVID, I'm sorry.
No, he doesn't have COVID. Thank God they went on vacation and gave him to me before there was COVID there. So
Oh,
the daycare has COVID, so he's mine,
oh, the
and
daycare has COVID.
it's closed for the week. No, he's great. We're outside and enjoyed. Yeah,
Oh.
thank you so much. He was such a good boy. Because I'm like, I cannot miss you. I cannot miss you. But I am so with you and so understand. But this one, never ever we had something like this, and it's like you're saying, is this Milchemet Gog Magog? I read that from some rabbi. If you want, I'll send it to you. Aliza sent me something. Maybe you have it already. And he thinks it's, but I don't know if you want to read it, but if you want, I'll send it. She did a chizuk.
Yeah, actually, I do have that. I have hers. I haven't listened to it yet, but I have it.
No, you have hers because I sent you, but
Yeah,
she then sent a rabbi about Milchemet Gog Magog.
Yeah,
And
I think I don't want to read that. I think I need to stay
Yeah.
focused
Yeah.
on.
We don't know what it is and where
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she said that I'm making a class for chizuk, for strengthening. So I told Raquel, my amazing friend, she's a physical therapy yesterday, can I share with you a strengthening class I just took? And she's a PT. So she said, oh, you took a strengthening class. I'm so happy because my posture, my core. And then I realized, I said, no, I'm spiritual. I had to make you laugh a little. I didn't do it. I didn't do any of that. So she said, oh, yes, please send it to me. Yes, I listen.
That's so funny. Wow.
So hang in there. How is Steve doing?
He's doing fine. So thank God. So actually, I
So
think I'm gonna go.
Ulpan stopped also. All this Ulpan also stopped.
They actually had Ulpan lab yesterday. They
Yep.
didn't on Sunday because things were too chaotic, but they did last night.
And
So
you helped him. That's amazing. You're
it's
the
great.
assistant teacher.
It's very
Wonderful.
fun. So he has learned so much. I can't believe it. So now he's up to words. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. So it's great.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, I can help if you need Spanish or Hebrew anytime. Lots of love. I'll wait for your link. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Gabi. Take care. And the best to you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.